What's going on, sports family? It's your favorite two grown-ass men, Mike and Jabon. We here talking sports with you. Good morning, Mike. Say what up to the sports family.
What's up, sports family? I've been missing y'all for a couple of weeks, but I got a lot to talk about today. How y'all doing?
Oh, Lord, here he go. Sports family, just in case you didn't see, or if you could see this, you know that Mike is talking about, more like bragging about, his visit to where? Mike, tell us where you went.
Well, sports family, the last episode we talked to y'all, and I was trying to tell y'all I'm trying to figure out a way to get to the Super Bowl. I was trying to get an underground vaccine. I was trying to get everything I could to get into the Super Bowl, and I was worried about not being able to get in because it's one of the hardest tickets in the world to get, but your boy pulled it off. Your boy was right up in Raymond James Stadium, watching everything that I told y'all was going to happen back in August, September, when I said Tampa Bay is going to win a Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. I was there. I witnessed it. It was the greatest thing ever. Bucket list type shit. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Sports family, it saddens me. It actually pains me to say it. Mike was right. I'm a man of my word, and I was going to go live to say that. Mike was right. He called that actually in the offseason. So I call him Mr. Trifecta these days because he said that, hey, Tampa Bay is going to make it to the Super Bowl. It's in Tampa, and we're going to win this bad boy. And I was like, yeah, I was just smiling like, yeah, whatever. Ain't doing shit. But Mike, so we got to start off this. My number one question for you, like everybody wants to know because, you know, it's a big topic these days, of course, protection from this pandemic. How did you feel being there at your bucket list item? Did you feel safe?
It's that question, Jamal, because I really honestly on the fence. Once I found out I had the opportunity to go, I was really on the fence about going because anybody that knows me knows I'm pretty paranoid about this whole pandemic, and I even lost a relative due to it. I've had other relatives that caught it or whatever. So I just was really trying to, mitigate my risk. I will say personally, for me personally, I think the NFL did they could to protect fans. If you were respectful, if you were on top of your stuff, they did. So everybody that came into the stadium got what they call a protection pack. And in that protection pack came an N95 mask, some sanitizer, and some sanitizing wipes. Like everybody in there had that. So you had some protection when you went in, the thing you need to keep yourself safe, right? Now, you can't make people use it, right? So there's still a bunch of people that didn't. They brought some little T-shirt around, pull it up, pull it down. Like some people didn't really wear the mask like they were supposed to, all that stuff. But the NFL, I think, did their part. And I will say security, at least in the section I was sitting, did not play about that. Shout out, and I got called out. Shout out to Marlene, security lady in my section. She probably got about steps in, down the stairs to put the mask on and to be safe. So I know a lot of people say, oh, we shouldn't have had the Super Bowl. We shouldn't have done this or whatever, pandemic. And I went, I came away fine. I came away safe, healthy, what have you. It all comes down to human nature. And if humans won't be smart enough to do what they're supposed to do, it doesn't matter what protocols you put in place. And I saw a little bit of both. I saw people being safe, and I saw people being like, this America.
It is truly an honor and a privilege for me to be here at Pinehurst School, or whatever your school is called today. You know what dog food tastes like? Do you? It tastes just like it smells.
People wanted to follow
delicious.
True that, man. I do. So, of course, I know it's a complete different experience watching at home versus being there live. So, Mike, now that you got your bucket list out of the way, man, just tell me about what was the difference? Pandemic aside, what was the biggest difference being there versus watching it on TV?
I mean, it's just the whole experience, dude. The pregame where D Nice was the DJ. I don't know if they played all that on TV, but he was playing some straight ratchet club, like, you know, and so it's funny when you look at the demographics, they wouldn't necessarily be jamming to that. They were trying their best. And D Nice rocked out. You know, the pregame with the national anthem and everything, where they did the flyover of the stealth jets, the B-2 bombers and the stealth jet. That to me was something like I just couldn't comprehend going in. Those planes were huge. And to be honest with you, until they actually flew over you, you really couldn't hear them. And so just like you become at awe at some of the technology that's out there. I'm not even sure why military planes need to fly over a stadium, you know, for a Super Bowl, but that was a really, really cool experience that I don't think on TV gives you kind of, you know, the grasp of what just took place. The other thing is those doggone planes were huge. So 3 of them side by side were almost as wide as the whole stadium.
Damn.
And so, like, when you think about that, and you think about if there's a military conflict or things like that, just seeing that, I was like, holy shit, like that I thought that was really dope. And then just kind of the energy of the game, for it to only be 25,000 people, and I'm not even sure if Florida told the truth on that number, but for it to only be 25,000 people in the stadium, the energy of the game, it is like none other. But again, I think it's a totally different feeling when your team is in it. And quite honestly, they were the home team. So it was just, like, it just made the experience just amazing. What I wish we would have been able to do as, you know, as fans is have a tailgate. They did not allow tailgating for this game because they didn't want people congregating around each other and just drinking. Because you and I know when we went to the Tampa 49er game years ago, the tailgate was probably one of the best parts of our experience, right? But the game itself, I mean, I had a great time because we basically dominated the whole game. And it was bully ball, and there was no anxious of, oh, are they coming back? Or, oh, what's about to happen? I didn't have any point in the game where I was just like really upset, except for maybe that first quarter when they're trying to figure each other out. But after that, like, it was the personal party of one for me. Like, I was having a good time the whole time because I knew we were about to win. You know, I'm texting my kids, I'm texting my dad, like, fat lady singing, this game's over, you know, and everybody's hating, like, and I didn't have to worry. Like, if people know me, there's been plenty of times I've text people, my friends, telling them how, you know, this game's over, and then my team ends up losing. This was the first time that I could text and talk shit, like, by halftime. And I didn't have to worry about, you know, us losing the game. So it was an amazing experience. Like I said, bucket list. If anybody can go and somehow you can finagle being able to go, you go. Because like it just is one of those things. If you can accomplish something on your bucket list, you do it.
So, question for you. So I'm glad you said that, because that's my segue into asking this next question. So if the average Joe has an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl, their team is in it, they're not going to be as lucky as you, and it being in their home state or their hometown at their field. What dollar amount would you say, hey, yeah, you got to go pull the trigger for a ticket?
You know, it's everybody's economic situation is different. So I would not say go pulling money that you're going to use to send your kids to college, or taking money away from your, you know, like, don't do nothing that's going to end you up in the poorhouse where you sleeping in the streets with your sweatshirt on that y'all won the Super Bowl. Like, don't do that. I think under circumstances, what I would tell somebody is if you have the ability to at least go to the stadium and tailgate, if your team is in the Super Bowl, and you can, a lot of people bring their own TVs out there tailgating, and like I think that's a cool experience too. If you could do that, but if you're going to actually go to the game, I mean, you probably got to have somewhere close to 10.
Bet. You know what? And
or I would tell people this too. Sports family, it pays to be nice to people. You know what I'm saying? You never know what could come your way or what doors can be opened by just being nice to people. So be nice to people, and I think under certain circumstances, I may not have been able to go, but all the stars aligned this year, and so that's all I can say. Be nice.
Yeah. Hey, so if you're wondering, sports family, Mike, I just got to ask this, man. Did you play the lottery that week? Because like your luck just we want to know, because this. Let's be honest, sports family. We just got to, we can be honest with each other. Nobody had Tampa on their radar until they signed Tom Brady. Like, Tampa Bay was not the favorite to win the Super Bowl, make it to the Super Bowl, until they got Tom Brady. The reason why I want to bring that up, sports family, is because the only teams that we were talking about prior to that was, of course, the 49ers, the Kansas City Chiefs, which they, of course, the Bucs obviously beat them in the Super Bowl, but Baltimore, you're right, Green Bay, teams like that. But it kind of goes to show you, like, with 1 to 2 smart moves, and the most important move, the quarterback position, man, like, shouts out to Tampa Bay, because for a number of reasons, and Mike, we kind of touched on this, and, I'm going to keep on bringing it up for those people who just don't get it, those teams that don't get it. Tampa Bay and Kansas City, they represented three coordinators, or possibly even 4 coordinators, both on the offense and the defensive side of the ball, who who had the potential to be head coaches. But of course, we obviously know none of them, got an opportunity to become a head coach, at least not this year. So, we got to kick, we got to poke and prod and do everything else. We got to do things 10 times better than the next person just to get the opportunity. But I tell you, man, like, shouts out to Byron Leftwich. You know what? Not Brian, but Byron. Byron, say it with me now. Byron Leftwich. So, and shouts out to that reporter who it's got to be so embarrassing, Mike. Really?
Quit your job.
Just take 2 weeks off and quit.
And now, don't get me wrong. The offense did their part, but, and I'm anything away from Leftwich. Don't get me wrong. The offense definitely did their part. Bulls and that defense, no one thought going into that game there was no way you hold Kansas City up at all, especially after the way Tyreek Hill went off, and I think it was like week 12 against Tampa Bay. No one thought it was even possible. And to just continually, time after time after time, to hold them to field goals or 3 and outs and things like that, like, that dude is not getting the talk that he deserved. Like, it just, I think we literally saw one of the best defensive performance of all time in a Super Bowl in that game, and no one really wants to talk about it. You know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, the offense did their thing, but to me, the whole theme of the whole game, and I don't want to, I'm not trying to call a grown man, soft or whatever, but Tampa played bully ball. I don't know if it showed on TV, but in person, it was bully ball. It was, I'm going to take your manhood out of there. And that's exactly what it was. We ran the ball. We hit them in the mouth. our defense, was kind of playing thuggery where, we were hitting and we was hitting. There was some bad intentions. And you could tell there was some get back, when Winfield, hit Tyreek Hill with the peace sign at near the end of the game, whatever. That was payback from, week 12 or whatever. And people don't know, they're like, in week 12. So ball at its finest, and goes to show you that you can have all these superstars, you can have all these things, and they will get you through the regular season. But when it comes to playoff football, it comes back down, and the bullies win. They really do. And so that again, all smiles.
Man, dude, phenomenal game. A lot of, I was behind the scenes, sports family. Like I was happy for my boy. This is number 2 for Tampa Bay now. So they got some climbing to do, to reach the 49ers 5. But I gotta ask you this, Mike. I know it's difficult, but you guys have Tom Terrific. Do y'all repeat?
Honestly, I think it do. Can we keep the core intact? So, a lot of people are saying that most of the guys are going to come back this year because it's, it's a special bond or whatever. But how it is. When money gets to talking, you got to pay your bills. I already got a ring. I might bounce, right? Mm-hmm. Barring anything, I think if they bring everybody back, I think there's a good chance, and here's why. I think we were probably one of the more healthy or fresher teams when we got to the playoffs. If you look at how Leonard Fournette ran in the Super Bowl versus Leonard Fournette ran for Jacksonville in week 13 of the season, like he was worn out back then, and he had fresh legs this year. His stats over the season may not have been kind of one of those what you would have hoped for in a workhorse back. But I think the strategy is you got veterans that know how to play this game. Just make the playoffs and make the playoffs healthy. And I think that's what we did. And, you saw our running backs were healthy. Antonio Brown had to sit out a couple of weeks because he was injured, but he scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. You think about how slow Gronk looked at the beginning of the season. And then you get to the playoffs and it's like, well, wait, who's this Gronk? You know what I'm saying? So I think if you're able to keep those veteran bodies healthy and not overuse them just to try to make the playoffs, I think we have a good chance to repeat. And I'm interested to see what we do in the draft. The defense is nasty. But you and I always talk about building for the future, and that's in the trenches. So I personally would like to see Tampa Bay continue to rebuild and build up those trenches because our secondary looks really good. Our receivers are just nasty, and I think we're set up for success as long as Tom is there. To be honest,
yeah. So, hey, Mike, I got to throw a shameless plug in there because, I kind of feel somewhat vindicated in saying this, though. So, sports family, a few years ago, I was, I'm going to go on record and tell Mike again that I feel like I was right. So, they drafted Vea in the draft. And I told Mike, you're going to like that pick. That's a great pick. And Mike, so all throughout this time, from when he got drafted up into the Super Bowl, Mike was like, "So that was a good pick, huh? That was a good pick, huh?" I mean, talking mad shit. I was like, "Dude, injury happens, yada yada. Dude, he's a plug. He's a force to be reckoned with on that defense." So I think Vea, when healthy, came through for you guys, Mike. You got to speak on it. You got to tell me what's your true feeling.
You're right. I'm gonna be a man. I'm gonna man up. I talked a lot of shit about Vita Vea. I really did. I didn't like that pick when it happened, And then the fact that he kept dealing with injuries or just wasn't that disruptor that I expected him to be. Like I was done. I was done. And then this year when we were playing great and then he got hurt in I think the Chicago game, I called Jamal. I was like, I'm done. But I give the dude mad props. He continued to rehab and get himself ready with the hopes of, hey, if you guys make a deep run in the playoffs, I'm coming back. And that's what he did. We got some very valuable reps out of him. I think it was the last two games, whether Green Bay or whether Kansas City, some very valuable reps. So I'm going to eat some crow on this one and say Vita definitely has earned his check and some respect and all that. Not that he was looking for respect from me, but I, as one of those avid fans, I was kind of.
I had to be Petty Murphy right for a second. I just had to be.
He was petty. I want
Hey, sports family, you got it. When you see an opportunity, you just have to take it. Mike, one more question on this side because, it's you kind of touched on it. You really touched on it, setting your team up for the future. Now, sports family, I will also say this. If you heard previous episodes, you know that I was kind of taking shots. I was calling the Tampa Bay Buccaneers the sequel to Cocoon. So they got some cocoon shells over there. I might be speaking a foreign language to some of you guys that are, younger listeners. But for all us old heads, we remember that 1980-something movie Cocoon, where the old people they encounter an alien life force that made them young and free-spirited and all that. So I think Tampa Bay, the NFL needs to go and check the Tampa Buccaneers out for some cocoons. So, Mike, with that being said, cocoons aside, do y'all keep every one of those old veterans that are key components like Gronk, of course, Tom Brady, AB? Do y'all keep them for your next run next year?
I think Gronk stays. I think if Gronk doesn't play in Tampa, he doesn't play next year. I think that he just enjoys playing with Tom. He enjoys Bruce Arians. He looked like he legit had fun this year. So again, I think if Bruce Arians takes the approach of, hey, we're gonna make sure you get your rest, so that we're not gonna overuse you. I'm not gonna practice you every day in the week or whatever. And there may be a couple games you sit out, and that's okay. We're gonna be fine. I think Gronk stays. AB, a tough one because I actually think AB and Tom are really close, and I think that ends up winning out, and what that ends up ultimately being why he stays. And I think, but what I'm wrestling with is AB was out of league for a year and a half almost, or whatever. That's a lot of checks he lost, right? And so if someone's willing to, like a Baltimore or somebody that's close that wants to get over the hump, and I don't know what you saw, but he's still at least a legit number 2 receiver. I could potentially see him saying, all right, I only probably got maybe 4 or 5 years left. I need to go get this check because I'm kind of fucked up my money before. But I think between AB and Chris Godwin, I think one of them doesn't stay, unfortunately. I'd love to keep Chris Godwin and maybe they can make it work, but I think he has to go get his big money. And Tampa's in a position with this receiver class that maybe you can go get a rookie receiver and groom them up and still keep AB. I don't know. Then you start talking about Ndamukong. I can't say his name. Sue. he's a free agent every year. He only does 1-year deals. Again, he's kind of an integral part of our defense and the line. I think he stays and makes it work. He's gotten paid pretty big over his career, and not to say now he's willing to take a discount, but I feel like he's kind of found a home in Tampa, and he's still getting paid decently. I think he actually stays. JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, I'm on the fence on. He plays well for us and plays well in our scheme. I just don't know if any team's going to be willing to pay him kind of a huge amount on the open market, so we may be able to get him back on the cheap. But the one that concerns me the most is Shaq Barrett. We've had to franchise tag him because once we got him, he showed out. Then we had to franchise tag him. I don't know if we're going to have the money to be able to like really, really like keep him again, even though I think he's awesome for us. I don't know if he goes chasing the dollars or if he realizes, you know what, this defensive scheme fits me and I'm going to stay here. What I would do, though, is if Shaq Barrett goes and chases the money, and I don't know if the timing is going to work out, but it'd be nice to maybe get somebody like a J.J. Watt on the cheap that wants to win.
Ooh. Oh, man. Yeah. Good observation. Yeah. See, you know what? I'll say this too, man. You guys have the best recruit on your team, the best recruiter. You know, I mean, and there's several, but there's one that sticks out the most. And let's call it what it is: Tom Brady. For those veteran players, just like you named with Watt, JJ Watt, yeah, come on, like he has, from my perspective, about 2 to 3 years left to try and do it. It makes sense. You know what? Tom doesn't even have to say anything. People go, oh, that's tampering. That's tampering. Tom ain't got to say shit. He just give that look, and you know what to do.
He got to say nothing.
No, I don't.
And JJ Watt can look at us and say, you know what? I have been injury prone, but it seems like they have a culture and a system that gives veterans rest and helps, make sure that they get ready for the playoffs. And so if JJ Watt can come and kind of coast through the regular season and get right for the playoffs, Jesus, like if we really only got to rush 4, it's a wrap.
Yeah. Yeah. You and I, we talked about this like super early during the regular season about, the risk versus reward. Regular season, you got to get to the playoffs in order to, to win a Super Bowl, obviously. But the kind of on and off, like the rotation that you guys built in Tampa, the names that you just put out there on defense alone right there. These used to be former players with their team that drafted them. They were studs. They were studs. Like JPP was a stud, but he came over to Tampa Bay. He was still a stud, but he was a rotational stud. So that's what, if JJ Watt is willing to kind of do that, I'm not saying he has an ego, but, put your ego in check and then say, hey, look, in order to win a Super Bowl, I'm going to have the load management mentality. So I think you're right. I think you hit it like dead on. One thing I will say is this, man, and I several episodes back when we talked about Coach of the Year and stuff like that, I still go on record to say Bruce Arians deserves Coach of the Year for one reason only. How the hell did he manage AB to stay out of, somewhat trouble, to remain trouble-free in Tampa Bay? Because Steelers couldn't do it. The Raiders couldn't do it. I mean, that was a hell of a gamble. The risk versus reward, it ultimately paid off for you guys. Coach of the Year, Bruce Arians. How the hell did he do it, Mike?
And when you talk about it, we get so caught up in play calling and X's and O's and all this stuff, but just managing egos. You know what I mean? How many times have we seen super teams put together and the coaches couldn't manage the egos, right? There was Gronk that wanted passes. There was AB that wanted passes. There was Chris Godwin, who's in a contract year. He wants passes. Mike Evans is chasing, history. He wants passes. Leonard Fournette wants to run the ball. But Ronald Jones wants to run the ball. You also brought in LaShawn McCoy, who want some carries too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got all these different egos, and you're having to pacify them and say, hey, this is something special. Like, just stick with it. You know, I just need you to stay fresh. Your time is coming. Everybody's got a different window in the season where they're going to shine. And for them to believe it, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was huge. And the funny thing about it is, even though Chris Godwin may not have put up the numbers this year that he put up the previous year, I don't think his free agency stock took a hit. You know what I mean? Like, I think teams want him just as bad as they did when he was a over 1,000-yard receiver, because everybody knows he's capable, right? So it's one of those things that if you buy in, you still have the potential to go get your money if that's what you want. But the way Bruce Arians and that coaching staff managed the expectations of the players, the egos, that was, like you said, to me, coach of the year type stuff. Because again, we've seen teams put together, the glory book, paper team, and they collapse, no matter what sport it's been.
Hell yeah. Bravo. So, sports family, dude, Mike, I know you're not going to go on live to say you won the lottery, but man, you virtually won the lottery. You know what? Shouts out to you. I'm proud of you and your Buccaneers, man. The Niners better go next year. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this quest for six, okay? It's been quest for six for almost the last 10 years, guys. Come on, let's get this damn ring. Man, yeah. Mike.
The Niners been having too much change, though, bro. Like, I think they've had too much turnover, whether it be players and coaching staff, and you've harped on it for a while. If you don't have a quarterback, and I've been telling you, ever since that dude went to dinner with that porn star, he is not your quarterback, and you need to figure that out. That he's the only that is documented taking a porn star out to dinner. You know what I'm saying? So until y'all you're going to be going to Quest Laboratories getting a shot.
Yo, ouch, man. That hurts, man.
I funked him.
Sports family, you know what? Thanks for tuning in. That's crazy, Mike, for you, man. That's crazy, Mike.
It's bigger than sports. Is going to be Serena Williams. Serena Williams is one of the few women in this world that you know who you talk about just by saying their first name. She lost in this last tournament that she played this week, and you could see kind of on her face at the interview that she's kind of contemplating giving it up, and I've been rooting for her, especially since she became a mother, to kind of win and honestly win in dominating fashion, just to give, all those women out there that have been, thinking that they can't return to workforce after having children, or that they're looked at differently, after they have children or what have you. I was rooting for her because I think she's an inspiration. She's one of the greatest athletes that we've seen in our time. And then also, I'm going to be real, as a sister, she is what every Black man dreams of as far as image goes. She's, and we are in an image conscious world where people think that is not beautiful. She is the epitome of beauty, of strength, of athleticism, all those things, and an inspiration to everyone. And I'm hoping that her impact continues to magnify, as her life goes forward, whatever she chooses to do, even if she chooses to continue to play. But for me, Serena Williams that's just it for me. Bigger than sports. We love you. Keep grinding, but whatever you choose to do, we know you're going to be successful. You definitely got my support.
Yes, sir. Well put, Mike. Sports family, hey, y'all, enjoy your weekend. Be safe. Stay tuned for some foolery. We got some foolery coming on. But hey, we love you guys. Peace.
Peace. Nah, keep bored. I think there's some bloopers and stuff.